Eventually where it's like, okay, you don't want that. You don't want to play with that fire in the playoffs. Like, I don't want to see that in the playoffs where it's like, hey, we'll spot a team and then we're going to play comeback. It's too hard on the ticker. Put it that way.
It is, but I think you have to be realistic that that's like sports is unsettling in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like
true.
I'm sorry, guys. No, it's just not going to be a breeze.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not the way it works. Like there's going to be moments where
lots of nerves, tension. You blow a lead. Look at how fired up they were a couple of years ago, and they got smoked 8-1.
Right,
Seattle, I think.
Yeah, Seattle, exactly. They were up 8-1. They ended up losing. Remember 9-8 or 10-8. Remember they blew that game.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, they were up 8-1.
They were
and
up
lose
8-1
the
and they
game.
blew it. Yeah. Listen, that's baseball. This bullpen nothing is going to change over the next 2 weeks that is going to make anyone feel great about Hoffman, Dominguez, Varland. Little was out there doing his thing, diving balls into the dirt again last night, and that's the nature of their bullpen right now. It is not overly solidified or confidence-inducing, but it's getting the job done. Yeah. And come playoff time. Again, they're getting a bye here. Like they've won 6 games in a row. Yeah. Like they have not slowed down. They are rolling right now, the Blue Jays. The Yankees are going the other way. The Yankees are gone. Like the Jays, they're in. They're winning the American League East, and they're going to have a bye out of the wild card, which is amazing when you consider where we were this time last year. Yeah. But it's going to be a roller coaster, man. Buckle up. It's going to be a roller coaster. And the Hoffman playoff experience is going to be wild, and the Dominguez experience is going to be wild. And
is that who you're looking forward to the most in the playoffs, the Hoffman, just to see what unpredictability he could bring?
4-3 Jays, Game 1, ALDS, dome packed. Here he comes.
Wow.
What do you got? What do you got?
I'm watching that Charlie Sheen documentary, and all I think of Hoffman is like the Wild Thing. He comes walking out. Ricky Vaughn, like, have at it. I mean, you know what? He's got a bunch of saves. He's done a good job for the most part, but he doesn't instill a lot of confidence. He had a stretch there where we were, a little bit concerned, put it that way. Every night he was just – he got rung up. 5-6 games in a row, it felt like he got rung up for dingers, like in the 9th.
Gives up a lot of home runs. Yeah. Prone to giving up the home run. Right? Yeah. Not the greatest characteristic if you're a bullpen arm.
Crazy characteristic for a closer.
Crazy for a closer. I don't remember
Ricky Vaughn. Ricky Vaughn is the only guy that I can remember with any problems like that.
Right. Yeah. If you hit it, you could name it. That was a direct quote from Ricky Vaughn. Yeah. But I don't remember Hanky or Dwayne Ward giving up too many home runs. I'm sure they did. I know they did, but I don't remember a lot of them. 30 years ago. But this Jays team, man, everything's coming up Blue Jays. Everything's coming up Blue Jays right now, and it is a fun time of year. You got the Leafs who are at camp today, and everyone's happy, and everyone's reported, and everyone's healthy, and they're still getting the last couple Mitch Marner questions. Like this is probably the last day until they play them again.
Gotta be the last day, man.
You can't ask about Mitch.
No,
I don't know. I mean,
I've got one for you.
When's it coming up?
3 games in, or their power play struggles. Do you miss Mitch? He does the entries, he does the half wall. I
don't know if they're going to go to that. I mean, the guys.
Okay, I'm just calling it right now. If their power play is not, they were top of the league last year or close to it. If their power play struggles, you don't think the three of us have been and gone, okay, they got to work out.
That's different, Noodles. No. That's a different thing.
But we're going to be critiquing who's out there not making it work. We're not going to say, Mitch isn't out there.
No, you're right, but I still believe the effect of just still trying to, settle in with new personnel out there. There's going to be now it might be just Morgan Riley, he's run the power play before, but maybe they go 5-man and it's Michelli. Maybe it's somebody else that is a good distributor. But that's you asked me, okay, it's done. I'm predicting if. Now it's a giant if. They could, continue to roll and be a really good power play like they have been. But that's the next time I think his name comes up, if there is a struggle.
Okay, but again, that's different. I'm not saying we won't talk about it. We will. I'm saying the questions to the players. That's what I'm saying. Because, one of these two things is going to end first. Marner coming up in Toronto circles with the players and the coach and the GM, and McDavid's contract in Edmonton. Like at some point, you're going to have to move past it. It's easier to move past Marner because Marner's gone. The McDavid contract, until it gets signed, it's still going to hang out there. I mean, that's just a reality. And it's more likely to pop up at different times throughout the season, especially when he goes to different markets. But the Marner thing, we're not going to stop talking about it. Like this is a big topic of discussion. Who's going to play right wing? The reality is they don't have one. Like Michelli and Domi are not first line players in the NHL. They're not. Like could they have a career year and everything works for them? That would be great. That's what they're hoping for. It sucks for Max. He's hurt. Day one of camp. He's got a lower body injury. He's not going to be on the ice. So that not a great way to start for him because it's a big opportunity. And it's not that he doesn't have talent or have the ability to give you spot duty, but they don't have like Nylander is. Nylander's clearly a first-line right winger in the league, but he's going to likely stay away from Matthews. And Michelli, Domi, Bobby McMahon, these guys are not first-line players in the NHL. So they got to, and the Leafs know that. They're trying to figure it out.
But
right? Like these guys are going to get opportunities. Someone's got to play with Matthews and Nyes, but
the other thing you guys haven't factored in, Marner coming up, is what if he lights it up in Vegas in the first couple games? Like, don't you think his name will pop up a little bit too?
Yeah.
Well, I think
you seeing what your boy's doing out there, your old friend.
I guess you're right. That could be a question gets posed. He has a 5-point night his first game or something, and
it would
Jonas
be the reverse.
Will be in there and Masters.
It would be the reverse. You know how like Austin Matthews will get 4 goals, and they'll ask like Utah, Carolina playing. You see Matthews score 4 goals. Do you think that the Leafs would get? Hey, do you see what Marner did the other night? Like they might, but I don't think it's going to be. I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be
in this
everyday.
market. Matthews could get 4 goals in Toronto, and a question could be, were those assists the same way Marner passed it to you? Like that's what we're talking about.
Think that. I mean, maybe early on, everything's just going to be a little bit different. You even heard Chiefs talk about it. Hey, don't refer to us as the core 4 anymore.
Yeah, they're happy about that.
Yeah,
that is a positive. The core 4 is no longer a thing.
So, Brian, you're saying context-wise, like his name probably should be done until further notice, type of thing.
Well, I mean, today it's a natural topic of discussion.
Right.
He was a massive part of the organization for a decade.
Right.
And he left, and it's a big conversation. Who's going to play with Matthews? Who's going to play with Nyes? How do you fill out the power play? Craig Berube, this is big for you. You got to find 20 minutes of ice that you were just, in your sleep hand to Marner. Sometimes you'd play him 24 minutes a night.
Oh, yeah, for fun.
It changes the dynamic of the team. It's a totally natural question to ask today. I'm just saying, now that you're on the ice, it's like, all right, it's over now, I think, until something else pops up. And I'm not suggesting that something won't pop up. But
it's not a daily thing.
I don't
just
think
for the sake of it being there, right?
Yeah, and I think the story, there's a couple things that came out of the pressers today, and Brad Treliving will join us in about 15 minutes. But Austin Matthews, I was having a chat with a guy about it today because he brought, naturally, the Marner thing wow, what about with Marner gone? Matthews, in my opinion, is one of the 5, 6, 7 best players in the game. Mm-hmm. If one player leaving, I don't care who it is, makes him the 25th best player in the game, that's on him, not on the guy who left. Like I don't care who he's playing with. Austin Matthews better still be worth $13.5 million per, and he better be.
Can't two things be true at the same time? Where
I'm just saying, I'm not letting him off the hook. Well, Marner's not here, so 28 goals this year. No. You still got to be the best player on the team. Yeah, I don't care if Mitch is there or not.
I know. It's just looking at Matthews' production. He's so good at scoring goals, but Mitch was such a big part of the setups as well. Like they had magic out there. Like
valid.
I think two things could be true at once, Hayes.
Okay.
Yes,
so how does he compensate for that, though? Like if you're Matthews.
Oh, listen, when you're making 13 sheets, there's no.
Somebody else has got to get him the puck, and when he gets it, he converts those shots. Like how many times last year did we see him just miss a little bit off here, a little off? Like he was still getting a lot of looks, regardless Mitch on his line, not on his line. If he gets looks, it's up to him to execute those looks. So I agree, Brian. regardless of the top player, yes, you don't get the perfect pass on the back door. You don't get some real creative looks from Mitch Marner, but you're still going to get looks, and it's up to him to convert those looks. So I agree. I don't think if you think he's, let's just say for rounding out, if you think he's top 10, or if you know he's 10, he doesn't become 30 without Mitch Marner.
Right.
You know, what he should do is stay at 10 or climb higher or do whatever, because top players can play with anybody. They're the ones that they're the reasons why. As Leon Draisaitl, they put a bunch of different line mates with him. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
He's still a great player.
Perfect example. Draisaitl last year at times was playing with guys.
Players. Pod Colson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing with guys who had no right to be on a line with Leon Draisaitl, and he didn't sniff. He didn't sit there and say, well, what do you want out of me? He's like, all right, let's go.
There's a
Follow
perfect
me.
example right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is my expectation for him. Does that mean he's got to score 69 goals? No. Does that mean he's got to win a Hearts? No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
Dominant. That's it.
He's
you got to be dominant.
Anything short of one of the best players in the game with anyone playing. Now, yes, the numbers, there are going to be times where there might be some frustration, and you guys can speak to it. Oh, you can. There is a difference when you're playing with a really, truly high-caliber player and a guy who's not at that level. Like, there's going to be certain times where I'm sure he will be frustrated in some ways. Right. But he's so good. If he's healthy, and he said today, feels great, feels good, let's get rocking. He's 28 years old as of today. It's his birthday today. Yeah. He's 28. He's 28. He's 6'3", 220 in his prime. I'm expecting a massive season, and I don't see why anyone else would expect anything less, with or without Mitch Marner. He's too good. He has to prove it. He has to go out and do it, and I think he will. Like, I'm not being negative with this conversation. I think he will. I'm bracing for Matthews to have a great, great season.
You could also, free him up a little bit, and what I mean by that is, maybe there's a thought process with Craig Berube to go, okay, we brought in Waugh as a shutdown centerman. Maybe he can take some defensive zone draws, and we can find some more offensive looks for Austin. He doesn't have to chew up some of the ice time in all situations. That when you look at ice time, we've talked about Mitch Marner had a bunch of ice time, but some of it would be on the penalty kill. They'd throw Austin out. If you want to find him in 20 minutes, maybe it's a little bit different type of 20 minutes for Austin, where obviously offensive zone draws, but you don't have to have him out there all the time in the defensive zone because he's good defensively. You can if you've got other players that you trust and Chief trusts, maybe you take that draw away from him, and that's a little bit ice time you can add on the offensive look, and he gets a little bit more offensive opportunities. That might add to it.
I mean, last year again he started killing penalties. He never did that before. I don't see Berube taking him off that. I mean, I would think he'll still kill penalties, and again, your defensive play, it's got to be high end because he's capable of doing it. And Nicholas Waugh, I think, brings a little bit, but he's not Austin Matthews. He's not Bob Gainey or something.
What I'm saying is that he's a trusted defensive guy. So my point being is, if you feel like, hey, we need a draw in our own zone, like, he's a guy that could probably take that, and you don't have Austin defending for 15 to 20 minutes or 20 seconds and getting off. That's my point. There just becomes a layer of depth where you don't have to put him in every situation offensively and defensively. It's more you can lean offensively with him.
Yeah,
that was my point.
Well, you need some guys with excitement to play with Matthews, like those goons out in the outfield last night, like that. We're getting.
Well, are you talking about the fans that basically allowed Brandon Lau to hit a home run?
There.
I don't know.
And
what
the
was
explanation and the it was a home run, but he caught it, but it was going to be a home run anyway. I've never seen anything like that.
It was such a mail-in from the umps. It was such a minor league. The technology's not working. Because Lucas is catching this ball, man. Like, there is no doubt in my mind he's going up and catching it or getting at least a glove on it from the still shots. And I think Schneider was like, are you insane? Like, this is how much everything's breaking the Blue Jays' way, that something like that goes against them. And then Lucas steps up in the next inning, hits a home run, and he's like, we're good. We'll find a way to win this. But how that was not fan interference.
Those umps were. They had Scrabble face last night.
Absolutely beyond me.
What was the famous one? Yankee Stadium against Baltimore?
Well, is that the one where the guy was ripping it out of his glove?
It was something in a playoff game where a Yankee fan kind of Yeah, he might have ripped it out of a guy from Baltimore's glove.
He was trying to do that. That was last year where he was trying
No,
to do
I'm
it.
talking like many moons ago, Jeter era, like in World Series, or like not World Series, but it was a long time ago.
Okay, I don't remember that one. There was the one where the Jays played Kansas City, and remember the kid with the beard and the glasses who reached over and caught it? I think it was Bautista playing him right. That was in 15 in the ALCS. That was a big one because it was the same thing. It looked like he reached over and they called it a good home run. I don't know. Maybe that's the rule in baseball, or that's the thinking. Like Ty goes to offense and just give it to him.
JP just got in my ear and said, "It wasn't Bartman. It was Yankee Stadium. I thought it was a big play, Yankees-Orioles playoffs, but I don't remember it." It might have been a ripping out of the glove situation. It was big, though. It was a big play.
Okay.
And the ump was like, home run, and the guy went nuts from Baltimore.
You would think with all of this technology, and stuff, that they'd just be able to go, that was going out. That's like nowadays the trajectory, bat speed, exit speed, all of that. Easily through libero, that could have been like, that's going out, that's over the wall, that's a home run.
Yeah, there's the play there, Hayes. Like,
Who is that? I can't even see what.
Yeah, it was
he's
Jeter,
going
man. Look at
nuts.
Jeter.
Yeah, but who's out in the field?
I don't know. I can't
crazy?
tell. I
The
can't
ump
tell
is-
based on my technology and stuff on my end. But that did look like blatant fan interference.
He's going crazy.
Wow. Now he's look at
Imagine
the
having
hole out
that
there.
happen in the ump in the playoffs, and the ump's like, "Nah, home run, nothing to see here."
Pointing it out.
And of course, it's the Yankees, Yankee Stadium. The conspiracy theories are out. Like, no chance they're letting Baltimore beat this team.
I'm drawing a blank on the ump that screwed up the perfect game. What was his
Joyce.
name?
Yeah, Jim Joyce or
Jimmy
whatever
Joyce.
his name was. Oh,
Out.
this one is big. Oh, I remember this.
Yeah,
because
it was a massive play.
he's not even jumping. That's the tell. Like the Oriole outfielder, is it Francisco?
Yeah.
He's not even jumping for it. He knows it's going to drop into his glove.
Yeah.
And the ump's like,
1996 ALCS, and
Oh,
he's just like,
yeah.
"No, that's mine."
we'll take that. The ump's like, no, we're good, man. I have reservations downtown. We'll be leaving soon. All right, we've got Jays and Rays back in action tonight, so we'll tee that up. We'll get to our best bets a little bit later this afternoon. Mike Johnson on the show today. Again, camp's opening up league-wide. Connor McDavid still doing interviews about his contract and what's going to happen in the future. And Brad Treliving will join us on day one of the Leafs camp. And what's he make of Matthews? What happens with that right wing spot? What did he say to Morgan Riley that, by all accounts, has been a message well received? Because Riley's lost weight, he looks good, he's ready to play. The goaltending tandem, what happens with these two into the future? A lot to get into with the GM of the Leafs, so we'll do that this hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Pacific Nations Cup on TSN and TSN Plus. Sunday on TSN 1050. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs take on Malik Neighbors and the New York Giants. Coverage starts at 8 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The NFL lives here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Mike Johnson in just over half an hour. Jays Rays tonight. Gosman back on the mound whenever he pitches. Goes very well. Goes very, very well for the Blue Jays, who are looking for 7 straight. You've got so much positivity around this team. It's incredible. You know, the Trey Savage story was great a couple of nights ago, and where he factors in the future. The injury update sounds pretty positive on Bichette. I think Varsho's going to return soon. And
Wasn't it crazy? Like, we just watched that highlight from '96 Yankees-Orioles. When Gosman went 9 innings, like the big deal that was made out of it. Back in the day, it was like a quality starter. Clemens, Halladay, it was regular
He went 9.
occurrence.
Yeah.
And they were talking it up, like, man, you went 9, and it was like, yeah. I think everybody's happy with like 5 1/3 now. It's a
Definitely.
great job today.
definitely. 5 is kind of standard. That's what Savage gave. It was like, thank you. We'll get you out. Last night, Ohtani had 5 no-hit innings and hit his 50th home run of the season, which is incredible. But that's kind of the limit. Like
you
five
said-
no-hit innings, and got to get him out.
But
And
you
then the
said
bullpen
Josh
goes
Allen
in and
is
just
the-
gets blown up.
Yeah, but you said Josh Allen is the guy to watch. I mean, Ohtani, look at that guy. No hit
I'm
and a home
standing
run.
by that. Wait till tomorrow night when Josh Allen.
That's
you
fair.
know what he's going to do to the Miami
Well, he's
Dolphins tomorrow.
playing a junk team tomorrow. Like junk.
The spread's 11.5. I'm
It should be
surprised it's that low.
111.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not 14.5. I'm tipping our pick. You have a pretty good idea who we're going to be leaning into next time we're on the clock tomorrow. But that's week 3 of the NFL. Again, the Jays Rays tonight. We've got the CFL continuing. Argos Alouettes on Friday. We're going to be down there. Can't wait for that. And the Leafs are back in town. And as of tomorrow, the Leafs are going to be back on the ice. And they were all down there doing their physicals today. This is the end of the era. No more physicals, I think, after today. Here's the GM of the Leafs, Brad Treliving. Brad, are you going to miss the physical era of the National Hockey League?
You know, I said to the guys, I think for the most part, listen, nowadays, maybe it was different in Noodles days where you came in and you had to skate the rust off. They're all in pretty good shape. But I said to them the other day, I'm like, I think you guys are playing this all wrong. The coaches will think you haven't done anything, and they're just going to rinse you during camp. Why not just get on, pedal the bike a little bit, make it look good, and everybody will think you're in shape. So we'll see. But it's a new game. It's a new game now.
How curious are you guys going to be when everybody wheels into camp? Like, are you going to be just eyeballs looking around everywhere to see where everybody's at? Tree, it's going to be a different ball game.
Yeah, we talked about that. We'll worry about that next year, but I think for the most part, the way the guys come in right now, they don't take a lot of days off. But we'll worry about the next little road ahead here, and then get our heads wrapped around that here next year.
With Brad Treliving, the Leafs back in action are on the ice as of tomorrow, and we're always tracking the size of different guys. Not that we know, not that it really matters, how much weight someone's gained or how much weight someone's lost. But I guess Morgan Riley has lost 6 pounds year over year, and it. You said today, and I believe he was indicating that the two of you had a pretty candid conversation after last year, and he's taken that conversation to heart, and he had a great off season. And I'm curious, what the expectations are. How are the goalposts moving for Morgan Riley in terms of what you need out of him this year compared to maybe what you got out of him last year?
Yeah, I think, for the most part, Brian, a lot of those things I'd leave just behind closed doors, right? The conversation you have with the players, you talk to your guys all the time. What I'd say about Morgan is, what do we need out of Morgan? We need the best version of Morgan and what he's capable of. What I would ask of him is not anything that he's not capable of. And, to get him back to, and I think we saw flashes of it, and I would say there was a little bit of of him getting adjusted to a little bit new style of play last season. And I thought down the stretch in the playoffs in the second half was better for him than it was maybe in the first half, but. We just talked a lot about getting Morgan back to what he's capable of doing, not asking him to be anybody that he's not. To me, that always starts in the summer in your preparation. It's in your mindset. And the great thing there is this wasn't a one-sided conversation. Morgan was fully on board, and he knows what he's capable of doing. He's the first one to tell you there's more there than what maybe we've seen last year. And this is a really, really good player. So, this time of the year, you look around the league, and today's always filled with, the great line of best shape of his life, and this guy's gained 20 pounds, and this guy's lost 20 pounds. But I can honestly say, around the facility all summer, and there wasn't too many days that Morgan wasn't the first guy in there and usually the last guy to leave. So he's put the work in, and there's a real focus, a real a real seriousness to him. So I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring.
So, Tree, you got a big roster of guys that are sorted out as far as NHL players, but do you feel like there is some internal battles here at camp, and is it tough to, monitor them with such a shortened training camp and then right into preseason games?
Yeah, we do. I think everybody likes to say there's competition, and we all know for the most part there's a pretty good idea. We can all pencil in, the guys are, for the most part, they're going to be on the team, but I can honestly say there's, if you look at it, especially up front, I would say that it holds true on the blue line too. That there's more NHL bodies than there is seats, and that's not including some young guys that I think are going to push. Right, they're at that stage now where they're not 18 years old and not mature. They're ready to push for jobs here. So we've got more bodies than there is jobs. So there's going to be competition. There's going to be competition to get on the team. And then there's always internal competition, right? Of finding your role. And to me, training camp's always about three things in terms of, and one of those is finding a role, solidifying a role. And so I think you're going to see that internal competition of who's going to pick up some power play time, who's going to play with who, where are you going to be slotted in the lineup, what role are you going to fulfill to help us win? And so I'm intrigued about that, and we've got, I guess, just under 3 weeks to figure it out.
Tree, we were talking about Matthews off the top, who he's going to play with, and just his basic, expectation this year. Whether obviously Marner's not going to be there, but he should be healthy and raring to go and be dominant regardless of who's on his line.
I would agree with you. He looks really, really good. We all know he was fighting through some stuff last year. Never bitched about it. Just dug in and played. And he's an elite player. And so, yeah, it's always great to have as much talent around you, but elite players, they drag others up with them. And I think that he just spent a lot of time with him over the last, he's been here for, almost a month now. There's a seriousness to him too. And, I think he looks great physically. I think he's in a great spot mentally, and he's determined to go out there. Some people say, okay, he had a down year. I'd like, there'd be a lot of guys that pray to have a down year like he had. And it's not just the goals and the points and everything else. He drives our team. He drives it defensively. He drives it from preparation. And I think he's looking forward to the challenge. And listen, we all know there's, he's got a different right winger there. Who that's going to be right now, that's what camp is for here right now, is to try to, we're a collection of players. I don't care what happened the year before. To me, I don't really believe momentum carries over. How many guys you've got back, how many new guys. You're a collection of players right now that you're starting the process of building a team. So he's the tip of the spear for us, and I expect him to be driving the group regardless of what changes have been made.
With Brad Treliving, it is somewhat unique though to be in pursuit of a first line right winger as camp opens up. Like, we talk a lot about battles, and it's who's the 6th or 7th defenseman, who could be the 13th forward. This is on the marquee. This is the top line with your captain here. Is that unsettling for you, Brad? That it's such a prominent role, and you guys are going in here still trying to figure out who it's going to be.
Well, at the end of the day, somebody's going to pick up the minutes right now. I said today we met with the media today, and sure, we'd love to be able to go. We'd love to go be able to go plop somebody in there right now. That's, we've been looking. Those players aren't readily available. You saw that, there wasn't really a ton of action throughout the summer. So we'll continue. The players' jobs right now is to go out and earn their opportunity there. The manager's job is no different than every year. How do you go find, people to make your group better? So we'll continue to do that. And I know we all get focused on first line, second line, third line. To me, there's just fits sometimes. Like, listen, we've had a lot of. Mitch was a great player. Is a great player. Was a great player for us. You're not going to just go replace that player with one player. So how do we find, whether it be internally, whether it be externally, somebody that can fit there? You look throughout the league. There's a lot of guys that you would say, okay, is this guy a first line player? But the fit is there. The chemistry is there. They have a job description that helps, one or two of the other players on the line accomplish what needs to be accomplished. So certainly that is an area that is going to play out through camp, and we'll continue to look at ways that we can help ourselves. But for the players, to me, there's a great opportunity there, and I know there's guys that are itching to try to get an opportunity there, and we'll see where chemistry is. You don't know. Like Chief and I talked five times a day all summer, and we've got lots of great plans until you get out the ice and see where the fit is. Sometimes it's what you thought of, sometimes it's not. So that's why you get into camp and play the games and see where all the pieces fit together.
Tree, how do you know when to pull the trigger making a phone call? Every team in the league thinks they're great right now, but the reality is that they're all not going to be. And, quickly teams find out that they're not that good. How do you monitor that, if you're looking for a guy to place that call?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the fact that there wasn't a lot of movement doesn't necessarily mean there wasn't a lot of dialogue. So you have a pretty good idea. You have a pretty good idea where what people may be looking to do. But you're right. It was the interesting part of this summer was, you had a lot of people, I think throughout the league, everybody was, regardless of where you are, everybody was trying to take a step, regardless of necessarily where you were in the development of your team, whether you're looked at as a team that's, in the contender status or trying to push through that to that end, whether you're a developing team, there wasn't a lot of people that were looking to, some of it's financially driven. There wasn't cap pressure in a lot of places where somebody had to throw a body or two overboard. Everybody, whether you were a developing team, a rebuilding team, a team that's a mature team, everybody was trying to take a step, and so you monitor it. You watch. That's all you do. You watch your team. You watch around the league. You stay as active as you can to make sure you've got your finger on what's going on around the league, and continue to monitor if there's opportunities out there that you can that can help you. So, we're all, like we said, today was the last day of, we all start to get miserable, tomorrow at 9:00 and figure out where our holes are, and all 32 teams try to make themselves better at starting tomorrow here. So we'll just continue to watch our group and try to stay as connected as we can to see what's going on around the league.
Tree, we had a healthy, I wouldn't call it argument, but more of a debate about the goaltending. You've got two good guys. You've got a kid in the minors who's a monster and has an opportunity to be an NHL goaltender as well. But, are you looking for, maybe this is more between you and Chief, but are you looking for one to push through and play 50+, or are you just comfortable with more, going back and forth and having guys in that 40 range if they're healthy?
Yeah, it's a good question. Noodles, it's the more you look around the league, we all know the guys that are the guys that play every night, and there's becoming less and less of it. A lot of it's too sometimes it's schedule driven. We're in a year here where everything's so compressed with the Olympic schedule. You're playing every other night. You got your back-to-backs, your 3 and 4s, 4 and 6s, all that sort of stuff. So it's not necessarily we're not looking at it and saying, okay, somebody's got to go play 50-55. We think strongly between the two guys. We're looking to have good goaltending each night, and we think that, we saw it a year ago at this time. We were sitting here and there were some question marks, right? We believed in both guys, but neither one at the time. I don't know if anybody played more than 20 some odd games.
Yeah.
And so they both played career highs last year. They were both fresh. Obviously, Stoli went through an injury process throughout the year, but they gave us good goaltending. So we're not necessarily focused of saying, okay, somebody's got to go grab it for 50 plus. I think what we feel comfortable is we're going to get good goaltending between the two of them. You're right. You've got the beast down there who's going into his third year now. So, he's coming along. Young Akhtiamov. So we think we've got some depth there in the position. But, between Anthony and Joe, we want to keep them healthy. And if they are, we think we're going to get good goaltending each night, and that's the expectation.
With Brad Treliving. So, this is the first time in over a decade Brendan Shanahan is not running the operation down there. And that was obviously, a significant change in terms of the organization's hierarchy. And he was the guy that brought you in. And I think a lot of people are curious about, the day-to-day operation with Shanahan not around. I'm interested in that, or I guess I'm going to ask you that, Brad, in terms of your role and your day-to-day operations. How different is it this year compared to last year?
Well, it's changed a little bit. Obviously, Shanny had a big. He was the president of the team, and he had a big influence on the team. And we talked. We talked. Every day and throughout the day, and so he'll be missed. My role, for the most part, really hasn't changed. It's focusing on our team. It's focusing on our players, our staff. How do I best support them? How do I, at the end of the day, how do we put the pieces here together and make our team as good as it can be? And so the job description hasn't changed. There's a few different things now that I'm more involved in than they were previously. But I'm very fortunate to have a great staff around me, and they've taken on some more things, whether it be through Brandon Pridham, Shane Doan, throughout the organization, the different departments. So there's a little bit more that's come through in terms of the transition, but I know where my focus is, and that hasn't changed, from last year to this year, and so where my energy is directed, it'll be for the most part exactly how it's been since I got here.
Well, it'll be fun to have you guys back on the ice as of tomorrow, and you don't really ease into it, right back into games this weekend. It's going to be great. Hockey's back, and it's always great of you to find time for us. We appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
You bet. Look forward to talking to you guys more, and go Jays down the stretch here, right?
Absolutely. Red hot.
Yeah.
They don't lose. They do not lose. It's incredible. Thanks, Brad.
Okay, guys.
Brad Treliving, GM of the Leafs. And I saw Masters was down there, Chris Johnston, and Pierre LeBrun, and Pierre had a really interesting observation. He effectively said it felt, okay, we have it, why don't we play it? There we go.
Sure.
Perfect. Here's what Pierre LeBrun had to say about kind of the vibe and the mood around the team today compared to the last decade.
Let's start with the mood in that room today as they met the media. To me, it's unmistakable how light the mood was compared to the past decade. We're talking about the Shannon plan no longer here. Brendan Shannon obviously let go as team president. Always talk of the disappointing playoff performances on this day. How do they turn the page? How do they get better? Player contracts, Marner, that hung over the entire room the entire year last year. A few years ago, Kyle Dubas entering the final year of his deal. We did a chat about that. Then Sheldon Keefe, lame duck coach. It's always been a situation where you felt like people had their hair on fire on this day and that the story just fed from there. Not the case today. Sink or swim, this is more than ever Brad Treliving and Craig Berube's team. there's a calmness around this team right now. Doesn't mean they're going to figure it out like the previous administration, but it certainly feels calmer right now.
That's interesting, and like everything he says is right. Like Shanahan, he was a massive presence, like a massive presence. It was clearly his team, his operation, and he learned a lot from Lou, and Lou Lamoriello and Shanahan were kind of hip to hip in terms of the way that they kind of wanted things run, and that's fine. But Marner's not here. Last year that was a huge story. Year before it was will Keefe survive? What happens without Dubas? And it's an interesting observation that it just seems much more relaxed, and there isn't some massive like elephant in the room hanging around this team right now.
That's true.
So
they just need to focus on playing. There isn't really the storylines, like Tree said, they're internal. He's got too many NHL bodies there. They sort out who's playing.
Mm-hmm.
How does the calmness filter into the players though going out there, Hayes?
I don't know. I guess you guys can speak to it, like 1 year over the next, in terms of whether or not is it a positive, is it a negative, does it have any effect whatsoever? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. It's not like
I just found the comment
calmness
weird. Was it chaotic or something that we're not knowing about?
I think what he's indicating is that in the past there was always this kind of Shanahan and Lou ran a tight ship, man. That's what they ran.
Yeah.
They ran a that doesn't mean that this is wild dorm room craziness. I don't think that's what Pierre's suggesting. And I know for a fact, Craig Berube, that's not how he's going to run the operation. But it was, Babcock and Lou and Shanahan. It was tight, man.
It was prickly.
It was
that's the
just,
word.
Yes.
I'm being respectful with it. But to me, if you want to have a different outlook, you can be a little bit more relaxed, still professional, but accessible. I think that's the word is the players can relax and talk with how they want to. I think in years past, it's Lou, it's Shanny, it's kind of buttoned up, one-word answers, everything's kind of tight. Maybe things are a little bit looser.
Right. And how that affects their play, I don't know. I'm not sure it will. But it might be in terms of the accessibility and the fan experience.
Yeah.
I don't think that's anything but a positive.
Yep.
We'll ask Johnny about that, Mike Johnson, in about 20 minutes. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Jays back in action tonight down at Steinbrenner Field, which I love that it's owned by the Yankees and the Rays play there. It's got to be sickening if you're a Rays fan that they have a sign up like, thanks to the Yankees for allowing us to use your park. And it's the Yankees. If it was any other team, Baltimore, okay, whatever. The Jays, all right. The Yankees, you have to use the Yankees facility to get through your season.
You wonder how many guys were like, I ain't playing. I
just don't want to do it. I just don't want anything to do with
you look
this.
at the facilities in big league sports nowadays.
Yeah.
That ain't it, man.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Terrible.
No, it's not. So you got them. You got them going tonight. You got the Leafs back on the ice. You got the Argos in action on Friday night with the Alouettes in town. The Argos are going to be down to their third-string quarterback, which stings because Arbuckle's been so good. Been so good this year. Chad Kelly is never even in the conversation. He's back around the team, but I get the impression he's not going to play this year. I think that's very clear. Arbuckle will return, but this is a big game on Friday night. We're going to be down there doing the show from BMO Field, which we cannot wait for that. Going to be a part of the broadcast. There it is. Yeah, they've been playing that
Why do
during
I
the
look
CFL
like a homeless
games all
guy
weekend.
in that? Like,
Look at
you
the
look,
coach.
Hayes,
Look at the coach.
I'm intense, man. That's a coordinator, though. Like, a head coach wouldn't act that way.
that doesn't even look like you. I look like a homeless guy that they're like, hey, put this hoodie on and hold that jersey
Doing the
up.
laundry.
And then O looks like Biff.
Yeah, I love how they
Back to
make
the
a
Future.
football player, of course, jacked arms.
And the
Look
cheerleader.
at the shirt on this guy.
Owen Wilson.
And Luke.
Is that a ref or a cheerleader?
He's a
I don't know.
cheerleader there. Yeah, he's a cheerleader. And his hair looks actually very good there. You should look into
does.
possibly using that as an inspiration. 'Cause
Brian, that doesn't
mullet
look
is
like you, though.
flying on him these days.
All of us look like ourselves except for you, Hayes.
Yeah,
You
I
don't look like you.
really anything like that.
I think it looks exactly like you.
No, it looks.
Really?
You know, he looks
Yeah.
like John Bartlett. Do you know John Bartlett?
Yeah,
Yes,
Johnny
from
Bartlett.
sports.
I
Yes.
love JB.
He
He's a great
I know,
guy.
so do I. But that's what you look like. I saw
it
that.
does
It's like-
kind of look like Bartlett a little bit. But that's like I'm not a head coach there. It's not a coordinator. Like that's like a linebacker coach, special teams coach,
That's a
freaking
great
out about an
video, though.
onside kick that somehow
Yeah.
went awry. But we'll be there Friday. Argos Alouettes down at BMO. Hour 2 coming up. Johnny will join us. We'll get to our best bets. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jay Daniels got a history. There's a party downtown near
Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Jerry's a little bit later in the hour. Best bets coming up. Jay's Rays tonight. Week 3 of the NFL tomorrow. Bills, Dolphins. Big spread. Big spread. Buffalo.
11.5?
massive favorite. 11.5 last time I checked.
Don't you think that's too small?
I kind of do.
Yeah. Like I feel like Buffalo could win 48-10 tomorrow.
Right. That's yeah.
I would not be surprised if it got really embarrassing. And Mike McDaniel basically doesn't
gate.
even make it on the plane home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's enough. Thanks, Mike, for your services. We appreciate it. You'll be an offensive coordinator somewhere next year.
They give
Crazy
him
how when he first got there, it was like, you're the new wise guy, you're the smart guy, and you're innovative, and you got all these ideas, and it's cool. And then when that goes south, it's like, you have no business being there. Like
Yeah.
that's the one extreme to the other can go to.
Yeah, it
but
happens quick. It happens quick. And that's it. That's coaching. That's sports. It's merit-based, man. You're going to get weeded out, right? Like the best ones are going to survive, and the worst ones are going to have to go. And that's the way it works in pro sports.
There was no consistency to him, though. That's what bothered me. The team can be good or bad, but he's driving up in Bentleys and his shades and chains, not like he got caught up in himself. Remember when he first got there, he was very funny, very affable, but he didn't stay the course. He became a hero, and now people want to take a shot at him because it's like, all right, you didn't stay, like, to me, humble.
Let's be honest, though, Noodles. It all coincides with winning. Like when you win, you can drive a Bentley, you can pull your pants up to your kneecaps.
But they didn't do anything, did they? Like under his watch, would
Not
they have
really. They made the
tremendous
playoffs,
success?
but you're right.
Yeah.
Not like a ton of success.
Yeah, there was
Right.
like 2 concussions, and then kind of not a whole lot going on.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you where that's going for a certain team. That their downfall is going to be celebrated more so than maybe any team in. I wouldn't say sports history, because I think the Patriots are probably at the top of that list. But even you look at the Pats, like now they're just in the league. They just blend in now.
Yeah.
Right? They're no longer, Belichick's not there, Brady's not there. Yes, there was a downfall, but you look at the Florida Panthers and the way that they operate, and their general approach, and there's just some guys down there with Kachuk and Marchand in particular. The idea that these guys are going to be teammates for 6 more years, possibly, is
Yeah.
crazy.
That never happens, man. That's something goofy happens where him and Brady like team up 5 years. Who knows? When you say they're going to be teammates for 6 more years, it never plays out like that.
It generally doesn't. 6 years
Right.
is an eternity. The point is they're going to be teammates for a couple of years at a minimum.
Yes.
And the team's the it team in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
The it team in the NHL, the Florida Panthers, and they're yappy and they talk and they troll. And Marchand steps up to the podium today and was asked about the contract and why he stayed or how he stayed, and this is what he had to say about it earlier this afternoon.
Okay.
All right, that's a baseball clip.
Not the best.
No, it's okay. We're good. We'll figure this
Little
out.
technical difficulty.
It's all
JP,
right.
can we try it one more time, JP, or what do you say?
Something tells me we probably won't, because
That might
watching
be a-
Vladdy rope one to left field, I like that. Very positive. positive Wednesday.
Yeah,
Might be a kill from the bridge one, not
I think
JP.
that would have been on the technical side of things.
But I read his comments, though, Brian, and him saying, yeah, the taxes factored
State tax.
in.
That's the only way it worked. The only way it happened for Bennett, Ekblad, and
Just
Marchand.
fired it right out there,
Just
too.
shot-
Let's be honest here, man.
Yeah.
There's no state tax. This doesn't work. We're all
He
in
knows
different
what
places.
he's doing.
But
man.
exactly.
He
Like,
knows exactly what he's doing. And again, because they win, everyone's got to chew on it. And everyone's got to just sit there and grovel and be like, God, I hate these guys so much because they play it so well.
Yeah.
You know, they're more of a team than anyone else, right? They love each other. They have rules that nobody else has. That's what Ekblad effectively was telling us a couple of days ago. They got the state tax. You know, they're in shorts and T-shirts and hanging out on the beach, and they have cup parties and no one even pays attention. Like all these different things that just drive people crazy in hockey mad markets.
What Ekblad said the other day, where he's like, "Yeah, there was like 20 people. The cup was just sitting there.
No one cared. Nobody cared. Like, could you
That
imagine
made some
that?
people in Toronto sick.
Oh, sickening. Sickening in any Canadian market.
Any market, yeah.
The idea that the Stanley Cup had been won 2 years in a row and is sitting there, you know, on a patio in Yorkville, and people are just like, nah, whatever. Who cares? I got places to be.
Yeah.
Like, it would cause such a stir if that was, you know, the equivalent of Morgan Riley sitting there, two-time Cup winner.
No, Bobby
And the cup's
Hastings, the
sitting there.
trainer of the Leafs with the cup at like a patio or something. There would be thousands of people.
Thousands of people. He'd be the most popular person in the city, the trainer of the Leafs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep,
Bobby's
that's true.
like, hey, we're going streaking with the cup. Half the city would be behind that.
For sure.
Down in Florida, doesn't matter. State tax, big benefit for us. And he's probably trolling to an extent, but there's probably also an element of truth in that. And if that's the case, again, another thing that a lot of other teams don't want to hear, other fan bases, is how do you compete with that? That they can keep all three guys because they're playing by different rules. Here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. What do you think that's going to feel like, the downfall of Florida? Because it's going to happen at some point. I'm not anticipating it'll be this year, Johnny, but in the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to lose, and things are going to go against them. Do you think that's going to be celebrated league-wide or what?
I mean, maybe, guys. Like, they haven't been great for that long. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, they're incredible back-to-back champs, 3 in a row. But they haven't been, like, a decade of excellence that have worn you down. It's just sort of like the way they play and the way they've had success. I think the league will be happy that they're no longer someone that they have to compete with. But you mentioned the Patriots are sort of being celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Boston Bruins were sort of the Patriots, right? 15 years, they were incredible, always a threat. They won a cup, they got to a final. Now they're just another team. I don't know if the league and fans are celebrating the Bruins' downfall. Maybe they're not quite as antagonistic as Florida, but yeah, I mean, I just they haven't been around long enough to bother fans enough that it will last for very long. I don't think.
How do you handicap the chances of them, Johnny, like doing damage again and not caring about home ice and just ripping it off again? Is that possible? 4 cup finals in a row?
You'd never think so, right? Like the toll it takes, and Matthew Tkachuk's going to miss half the year. He's going to come back and play in the Olympics, but I guess they have a good chance. They showed us last year, and they showed us down the stretch. They don't care about home ice. They have returned the bulk of their players, including Marchand. Like, if healthy, I know they're a year older and they are getting a bit older, but if healthy and their goaltending is good, again, they're probably not a team that anybody at all wants to face in the playoffs. So if they went into the first round, wherever they were seeded, and if they were healthy, they would be the favorite in every single series they play in, all the way to the Stanley Cup Final. So, I take the house and not just I take the field, but not just Florida. But yeah, they're definitely doable. Which blows your mind given how hard it is to get to 1, let alone 3, let alone maybe 4.
Johnny, camp's opening up today. Guys saying their best shape of their career, all of that type of stuff. We hear that all the time. When you look at this Leafs team, outside of with Mitch Marner not in the mix, is there, something or somebody that you're focusing on that either will bridge the gap or they'll play a little bit differently? Like, how's their power play going to look? What's their penalty kill? Who's the first guy out? That type of stuff. Are there answers within? Or are they going to have to? Is Tree going to have to get creative here at early on in the season?
So the guy, and it sort of ties into perhaps the power play. The one storyline that I'm curious to watch throughout camp and into the regular season and how the season starts, it's Morgan Riley. And I think Morgan Riley had a decent year last year. He lost his job on the first power play unit, so he still had 41 points or whatever it was. But I think the perception was that his play slipped a bit. It wasn't where he wanted it to be. It wasn't where the Leafs wanted to be. And again, best shape of your life. I don't know what kind of shape Mo is in, but I have heard that he has sort of a re-energized focus and purpose and sort of challenge to himself to be better than he was last year. And if you put him back on the first power play, which he has sort of back to being a top 5 power play for 2, 3, 4 years before last year, and all of a sudden, he's getting some of those easy points from the power play, does that help him play 5-on-5? Does it matter if he puts up 65 or 70 points with the power play help? He's one guy that I'm going to be watching. And now I'm not going to say he's got to go prove he's like a top 10 defenseman in the league, because he's not that. And I don't even know if he has to prove that he's the best defenseman on the Maple Leafs, because they are so situationally specific. Like, Chris Tanev is always going to be a better defensive defenseman, but Morgan Riley's got to be a play-driving guy who won't hurt you. Noodles, I'm curious to watch, his season. And, with Mitch gone, I want to be positive. We're going to be positive. But, if people want to look to find someone to be annoyed with, Morgan Riley might be, unfortunately, one of those guys if it doesn't go well.
Hayes was talking about Mitch and his name coming up. Is today the last time we're going to hear Mitch Marner, or is there, one period into an intermission and his name is going to come up, Johnny?
So, I guess obviously when they play Vegas, that'll be it. But, if their power play starts out 2 for 32, or if Austin's got 3 goals after 14 games, then I think it's a thing that will be discussed until they show that they are not significantly impacted by his departure. Of course they're going to be, but if it's to the point where either individually or as a team they're not having a similar kind of success that they had before he left, then he probably does get, mentioned a little bit and what his absence means to the guys that are still here.
Who do you think has a better team as of today, Vegas or Toronto?
That's a good question.
Day one, man. I'm throwing curveballs at you, Johnny. I'm in mid-season form.
I'm like, well, hang on. You got to remember what did Vegas do again this summer? You got to try to rack it back.
Well, they lost Petrangelo and added Marner.
Yeah,
that's kind of the big. Those are massive transactions.
They're pretty similar. If I had to pick, I would pick Toronto will have a better year, because Toronto, I think the Pacific might be heady, some of the top teams in the Pacific. But I think they're about the same. They're both going to be around 100-point teams. They both are going to be Stanley Cup contenders. They both probably, have a few question marks, maybe some depth. Scoring might be an issue for both sides. I think, and a lot of my answers for the next 2 months, Hazy, are going to be sort of depends what Austin Matthews does.
Yeah.
I think so much of this year sort of depends on what Austin Matthews does. And if he's healthy and if he can get back to being a top 5 guy and the best goal scorer in the world, then the Leafs are probably better. If he's not that, either because of health or production or missing Mitch Marner, then probably Vegas is better.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Vegas just kind of hums along, but the Leafs do too. The Leafs have made the playoffs 9 years in a row.
9 years in a row, right? Longest streak in the league. To think about what was it? The Ego Gate or the Jersey Gate? The Ego, right. The Leafs are a long way from that. Yes, they haven't had great success, but they've been a model of consistency in the regular season for a decade.
Yes, yeah, they have. Yeah. And I anticipate that'll continue. The adjustment without Marner is going to be significant. He's a big piece of their puzzle, and he has been for all those 9 years. And he plays in every situation. And they did not fill his role. They don't. They have Max Domi or Matthias Michelli as the likely replacements on that line. So it's a natural
fall. Max there? How are we feeling about Max there? Because I think Max is going to get the first look.
Yeah, it stings that he's not even 100% healthy day one of camp, but still, the season starts in a few weeks, so he's got time.
Because if he doesn't play there, you start moving the pieces around. It's harder to find spots if Max is not playing in the top 6, given the other players and maybe what they can do and maybe what they can't do. So he's another important player that he sort of sorts it out, well, either with Tavares or with Matthews, but. Yeah, I mean, everyone's got to get a little bit better. I think ideally the way the Leafs are set up, that Austin and John Tavares don't have to take quite as much defensively, which they have both carried a lot of the last couple of years, which is not ideal. If you got Nick Waugh down there and Scott Laughton, if that's your third and fourth, let them chew on the defense. Let them take the tough face assignments and face-offs and free up the top guys. And Matthews being healthy and going from 33 he was at to 53, and there's 20 goals you need to come back. Those are going to be. It's going to be all those little things to make up for the loss of Mitch and his 100 points.
Yeah,
you going to go, guys, Jamie?
No, I was going to say there's guys just fighting through that. The biggest thing is there might be somebody that surprises out of training camp. If Easton Cowan settles in, maybe he settles in a little farther down in the lineup but pushes up. But, there's Michelli, by all accounts, Johnny, is a guy who distributes the puck well. He doesn't have to be Mitch, but he can be a nice player. And again, you can do it by committee. That's the other thing is this team might have to learn to, hey, we do need production from a third line. Hey, we do need, our fourth line to not just go out there and kill time. We do need some – that's the one thing that I think – I'm more looking forward to is how Craig Berube runs his team a little bit differently now, where you don't have to have one set of rules for one group and another set for the others. It's like everybody plays the same way. They tried to get to that last year, had pockets of it, but I think with more of a balanced lineup, you might see more of a balanced attack.
You'd hope. My only fear is this, Noodles, is that if what allowed Florida to win that series against Toronto? It's their third line, really, right?
Right.
Third line production, what Marchand turned that Lundell line into when he showed up. And so, I let all the players that play on the bottom 6 for Toronto, Joshua, McMahon, Waugh, Lawton, Lorentz, Yark, they're all good players. They're all players that are certainly good, productive players. Are they going to be able to score? At some level, I'm a little concerned about goals from that part of the lineup. And maybe I'm proven wrong. Maybe they all get 15, 18, mostly even strength goals, and that turns them into a very, much more productive. But in a league that's getting faster and more offensive depth, I need to see if those guys can play that way, or will the offense sort of dry up if Matthews or Tavares aren't on the ice? And that's a legitimate concern. And I think that's something that, again, they'll have to sort through as they go along.
Johnny, what do you think McJesus is doing to the Oil fans? Is he causing a stir, or what's going on?
He's causing aneurysms left and right. I quite like it. Not that he hasn't signed. I don't care about that. But I just like the fact, though, that he's willing to sit there and say, answer the question honestly, frankly, and not try to placate the home crowd by saying, you know what, I want to be here. I love it here. We're just working through it. He's calling it like it is. He believes that they can win this year. He is 100% committed to winning in Edmonton this year. He needs to know that one of the oldest rosters in the league that is capped out to the max is going to be good with him making $17 or $18 million going forward for the next half decade. That's what he wants to see. I think everyone's asking, what does he want to see? I think that's what it is. How do they sort of reinforce or introduce more young players that aren't Broberg or Holloway or McLeod? The guys they lost would have been the guys, but if it's Savoy or if it's Ike Howard or whoever it might be, what does that look like for him? And I still think it's far more likely than not that he resigns. I also think it's far more likely than not that he doesn't resign for 6 years. If he does resign, it'll be a sort of 2, 3, 4 year thing, and then he'll get back to it. But I get the nervousness, but what can you say to the guy? He's giving you, 10 years now. This will be his 11th year of being the best player in the world basically every single year. He's been incredible in the playoffs. He's embraced with his family, the market. Like, you can't really criticize him, although I'm seeing a little bit of it. Sort of like, if he doesn't want to resign, get rid of him. Like, I don't know if you want to go down that road. He's given you everything you could possibly ask for. But I get being nervy because you want him signed and you want him comfortably signed for another 8 years.
Just seems to put so much pressure on the whole organization, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
And I if that's a part of his mentality.
I think the players haze. You're like, I better be good or McDavid's going to leave.
Like, if you're an old guy cruising around, like, and you get injured, you're like, man, McDavid's going to hold this against me. He's leaving. You know?
What about Stu Skinner?
Yeah, no kidding. Stu Skinner goes out there and he's blowing like an .820 save percentage through November. McDavid is like, I'm looking for real estate somewhere else.
But I think Connor's camp is thinking like that, Hayes, right? Like, Connor's going to be fine with the pressure. Do you think he's going to melt? Do you think he's going to fold? No. Right?
No.
Like, he's not going to struggle without a contract. So if players, and I don't think the players live out that bad, but the organization's feeling the pressure, well, that's fine. Like, answer the call. Rise to the challenge. If they're great, if these young players they believe in turn out to be fantastic, and McDavid's like, yeah, I could play with that Ike Howard for the next 7 years, and he'll grab 30 goals every year. Like, the flip side is, if it works, then you got him for another decade. So look at the upside, not just the downside.
Yeah, he's got to put some pressure on himself too, Johnny. Don't you think? Like McDavid, listen, he's been the best player in the world and all of that, but they've been in Game 7 and Game 6, and it's been quiet in those games, right, against Florida. Like, those were.
Yeah, but this what pressure does he have with this kind of contract thing, Noodles? He's just going to go out there and do. I don't think
I'm not
anyone's going
saying
to say
he's playing for a contract. What I'm saying is he wants to win a Stanley Cup in Edmonton, and yes, everyone's saying, well, he drags it. He drags everybody to it. I mean, Draisaitl was better than him last year. Like, if you look from start to finish, Draisaitl had a better season than him. Yes, there was injuries, all of that type of stuff, but I think. McDavid is a guy who's got tremendous pride. He wants to finish the job there. He might just, like I say, I'm going to sign, but I want to win here in Edmonton, and if I win, all bets are off. But I look at it, I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on himself internally to finish the job. That was my point with that.
Yeah. I mean, he won a Conn Smythe on a losing team, so it's tough to say that, he didn't get it done in the playoffs 2 years ago. And but he also said, Noodles, whatever he had last year, we have 24 goals. What do you have? Like a really low number.
30.
And he's like, that's not enough, right? He said it out loud. Like, that's not a good season. That's no good. He's got to be better. So you wonder if he goes on, Crosby sort of 26 he had last year. When Crosby scored that 1 year where he had 50-something goals, like, you wonder if he sets his mind to it like he did a couple of years ago when McDavid had 64 goals. Like, that is something that he tries to do more of as well. So, I mean, he had 33 points in 22 games last year. So, in the playoffs. So he's done. It's hard to criticize really sort of anything he's done on the ice, other than sort of scoring a hat trick in Game 7 to make sure they win that one. And he's going to be fine wherever he goes. He's going to be just fine.
What did you get for a point total this year? We all had to do those top 50.
Yeah, I was like in the 130s, I think, or something like that, like a 40, 46, 88 or something like that, like 134, something like that.
Hayes, what were you? I was higher.
I were higher than that. Wow, I was nowhere close to that.
What did you say?
I think I had 40-something goals, like 116, 115 points.
I think I had
I think I got higher than that.
I think I had 151.
He's not 151.
Yep.
Man. He's not. He'll never do that again in his career. I'd be willing to put a lot of money on that.
Oh, yeah?
And he never gets 150?
Never. Never again.
We've had this conversation before. We've had this one before.
We've had it before. But look at history. Look at Gretzky. Look at Lemieux. Guys going into their 11th year, they don't pop in year 11. That's when you're 22, 23, 24. That's when you rack up. When you get this deep into your career, it just doesn't happen. Like, that doesn't mean he's going to finish with 45 points.
No.
But I don't see 150, man. That's absurd. That's 2 points a night. That means Columbus on a Tuesday. This guy's like, play me 27 minutes. That's not happening. Like, he's not doing that.
Well,
I don't think. That's my personal opinion, but I feel pretty certain of that. I'm not sure. I'll say this. Again, I don't think it's outlandish based on history. I'm not sure he wins a Hart ever again because it's tough.
Come on.
It's tough to do, man.
Wow.
It's tough to do. He hasn't won one in a
is,
few years.
In that argument, what young player? Because all the Hart candidates are generally around his age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like there's a 21 or 22-year-old. Like, that guy's going to win it any second now. Like, who's the young guy that's going to knock him? Like, if it's not a defenseman, McCarr or Hughes, what forward? Kucherov, Draisaitl, McKinnon, Pastrnak, Matthews. They're all the same sort of generation of player. In fact, he's right in the middle of those guys. So who's the young guy that's going to knock him off so he doesn't win it again? I'll take you on that bet.
That's a very good question. It's a very valid point to make, that the guys who are fighting for it are the guys, it's those same guys. Although Hellebuck won it last year, no one saw that coming.
True.
Maybe a defenseman wins it. It's very rare. You don't see that very often.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody's kind of lumped up. You're right. It's same, age group, all of that. The next wave is guys like Celebrini. Who else is a young? Maybe Jack Hughes if he's healthy. Somebody like that. But he's
sure.
I think Jack Hughes is obviously good player, but to knock off McDavid for a Hart run, that seems like a stretch, man. It could happen.
It happens, though. You get your Taylor Halls, you get your Corey Perry years.
Yeah, and I find those fun stories, but I don't know. If that guy's dialed in and he's pissed off to some degree, it'd be awfully tough to knock off.
Yeah, and listen, if he ends up with 150 points, he's winning the Hart.
Well, yeah.
That's for sure. I can guarantee
That's also a good bet.
Yeah. That I will guarantee.
Yeah, agreed.
But anyway,
all
right. Well, we'll see. We're a few weeks away. We're going to find out very, very soon. All right, Johnny, good to have you back in the swing of things. We'll do it again later in the week.
All right, fellas. Good to be back with you. Happy to be squeezed into your second hour here. We can make it work. I appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely. There he is, Mike Johnson, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Drive the built-in Canada fuel-efficient, fun-to-drive Toyota RAV4. Gas or hybrid models available. Visit mapletoyota.com. Now, I will say this. If McDavid goes to a new team, then he's winning the Hart again. Then he will win the Hart, 100%. Yeah.
That's always an automatic.
Oh, then it's like new team, new guy, Gretzky in L.A. Yeah, exactly. That's a lock. But, yeah. I don't know. It's tough. As you get older, there's different priorities. It's a crazy year with the Olympics. A lot of pressure on him there.
You're right. The Olympics might throw in a wrench to all of this, too. The season's condensed. Last year, these guys played so much hockey. At some point, the league has to be concerned. But no, they're not, because they're adding 2 more games.
Right.
But we're shortening training camp.
I don't think the players care, Jamie. They skate. They're every day. They take a week off and they're back on the ice, man.
Load management's coming. I'm telling you. At 84 games, load management is coming.
And that's the thing. And he would be a prime example of that. Matthews will be one. McKinnon, the best player. That's who gets the load management. It's not the third and fourth line guy.
No. But it's going to be top players that go, okay, we got to make sure that, we're ready for playoffs. And, oh, by the way, we got a tournament here. We got, we're having World Cup, or we're having Olympics, and there's just so much hockey for these guys. Exactly.
Yep,
so much for these guys.
Best bet still to come. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
You're going to want to hear this.
Jerry's percentages.
I don't love being commissioner as much as I used to. I actually love it even more.
That's the voice of a Hall of Famer.
Are you kidding? Have you been out drinking?
You're all pigeons. Filthy, filthy pigeons.
It's Jerry. Gerry.
All right, the NHL's back. Jerry's busy. I'm sure he's looking into expansion and crossing T's and dotting I's on the new CBA and adding games to the schedule. There's a lot going on. World Cups, you get the Olympics this year, very busy stuff. So let's stop messing around here. Jerry basically sent us an email, said, I have a few takes. Let's go. You guys ready?
Go ahead.
The tandem of Stolars and Wall will be intact for the Maple Leafs for the next 3 seasons.
I'm low on this. Just how things happen in big league sports, especially hockey, goalies. 20%? I'm 20% on this. Like,
Okay.
it sounds great right now, and, they were great last year, tandem, keep one of them fresh all the time, but things happen. They happen quickly.
Yeah.
20%.
I mean, a little bit higher because I feel like Stolarz will get, a 3-4 year extension type of thing. We talked about his deal already, but the Hildebeest sticking his nose in there, if he can get to be an NHL guy and they move on from somebody, like, I'm higher. I say 40%, but not above 50. That's the thing. Like, it would be nice, and it would be nice if Wool pushed through. Wool's 26. See if he could be a 1. But if they can get Stolarz on a reasonable contract for 3 years, I could see, kind of 50.
I could too, because
40%.
neither of them, this would be 0% if one of them established themselves as like a number 1. Then I think maybe you trade the other one. They'd have value. You get something for them.
Yep.
Bring in someone a little bit cheaper if you only need 20 starts out of them. But the fact that these two have both kind of determined that they're just incapable of starting more than 35 or 40 games, then it seems more likely they'll have to rely on both of them, and stick to it. Hildeby, I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe that's the best thing for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
You're not overusing, and we pick the guy at the playoffs, man.
Now, a tandem sticking around for that would be 4 years straight. Again,
No
does
way,
seem
dude.
unlikely.
Yeah,
like it
that's right.
seems unlikely. I'll say 49%. I'm a little bit more optimistic than both of you, but into the minority on this in terms of the long-term probability. It just generally doesn't work that way. One guy falls off, or someone gets hurt, or someone thinks they should be playing more and they get their nose out of joint, or a trade develops and teams like, we got to go get it. We got to change something up. Playoffs aren't good enough with these guys. We got to get a true number 1, and maybe the pressure will be on Treliving to go do that. 49%.
Big Dumper needs 7 home runs in his final 11 games to break Judge's record. And Jerry says he does it.
Wow. What a heater he'd be on down the stretch. He hit 2 last night. Cal Raleigh's up to 56 on the year.
Wow.
Amazing.
7 more?
7 more to beat Judge.
That's a lot, though.
11 games, 7-11. 7-11.
I don't know. I'm low on this.
I'm low on this too, man. He kind of slow. I'm 20% again. I don't think he gets that.
I'm my wish.
You think guys are going to pitch to him though, Hayes?
Well, and Seattle's on a heater, man. They're looking great. Why would they? Why have they been pitching to him the whole year? Like he hit 2 last night, and he passes Mickey Mantle the most ever for a switch hitter. He ties Ken Griffey Jr. for the franchise record. It's unbelievable. Why would he slow down? 7 in 11 games is asking a lot. Though.
Yeah, it is.
It's asking a lot. So I'm pretty low on this too. 30%. It would feel magical, but it's already been magical. Like this guy's capable of hitting 2 in a game. He's done it a lot this year. If you can do that a couple of times, you shrink it down. All of a sudden, you need like 3 and 8. Something like that. That changes the whole complexion. You can get red hot for a couple more games.
I'm
30%.
I'm 33%. I'm still low on it, but I think there's a chance.
I hope he gets to 60. It's an arbitrary number,
cool.
but it's a bold one, and it means something.
Yeah,
right.
Yep,
Like that's where Babe Ruth got to, and Maris and Judge and all that. Like if you can get to 60 as a switch hitting catcher, that's just the most incredible offseason or offensive season ever.
It is.
I think at that position. All right, what else do you have, Jerry?
Kawhi Leonard will finish the final 2 years of his contract with the Clippers. God knows he doesn't want to do much.
Yeah, he probably doesn't really care one way or the other.
No, he doesn't.
He might just go up to Stevie Baumler and just, I don't even want to play. Just keep paying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just no-show me the rest of the way. It's getting ugly, though, man. You're seeing a lot of anonymous leaks coming out of the Clippers. Now everyone hates Kawhi, right?
Yeah.
A pain in the ass, never plays, so difficult to deal with. You knew this was coming because they moved heaven and earth to get him. And they paid him a fortune, and all they've done is pay him, and he just has not pulled his weight. And at some point, people are they're going to lose jobs, and people are going to get pissed. And now this is leaking out, which is still the responsibility of the team. You know, it's shady for Kawhi and his camp to be asking for this kind of stuff, clearly. But it's the team that gave it to him. It's the team that did it. And I don't believe they're going to void his contract. I don't see the PA accepting that. This is on Ballmer more than it is on Kawhi.
But do you think that there's somewhere in Ballmer's world, he has so much money he doesn't care. But do you think that there's somewhere in his organizations like, can we find a way to get rid of this guy, like to void his like? Do you think from the other side, not the league, but from the Clippers side, going, we got to get rid of this guy?
How are you?
They're so stupid. They probably think it's still the golden nugget, a chance to win.
The issue's the Players Association, Noodles.
Yeah,
like they would fight tooth and nail. That's a slippery slope. If an owner can just say, I don't like this guy, voided contract, that doesn't happen in pro sports.
Well, but you're right. But if the owners are all getting, it sounds like the owners have all gotten together and discussed this particular situation. Like, what is Ballmer getting? Is he getting a rap on the list or a rap on the wrist, or what does he get?
He should get hammered for this. Hammered.
Right.
Like,
I haven't heard
everything should be on the table, all the way to the extent of losing the team altogether. Like, this is a massively shady cap circumvention to pull this off and play aloof and you know,
huge.
It's a massive scandal. Like, you can't sugarcoat it. And Adam Silver looks ridiculous throughout it. He has not done himself any favors. But we all said this from the second it broke. We'll know if other teams are doing it based on what the reaction is and what the penalty is. But for me, this is way more about Ballmer and the Clippers than it is Kawhi Leonard. Like, I'm not accepting that the goalposts are going to move to now it's, Kawhi's the guy who should take all the heat for this. No, I don't think so.
Right.
Like this, he
yeah,
asked
you only
for
do what you can get away. Like,
exactly.
They were letting him do it.
They gave
Giving it to him.
They gave it to him multiple times. They re-upped his contract. They did it. So that said, to answer Jerry's question, do I think he's going to play 2 more years with the Clippers? I just don't.
No,
I think it's too loud now. They might buy him out, right? They may just say, "Get out of here. We'll pay you everything. We need you out of here." That would not shock me. I'll say 15%. It just seems like Kawhi, he's got to get out of there now.
I'm 10%. Like, they got to get rid of him.
They got to get rid of him.
50. Yeah. No, I'm 50, man. I'm 50.
Really?
Well, I mean, Kawhi's not giving a penny back. And again, I don't think Kawhi will be affected by this at all. He'll just keep showing up and playing. And if he's not 100%, he'll say, "I'm not playing." Like, he has no obligation, which is not a good thing. It's not a positive reflection on him. But he clearly is not going to play injured. He doesn't feel any obligation to do anything for the Clippers. Like, that appears to be his approach. Like, you're paying me. If I can play, I'll play. I'll try hard, but whatever. Yeah. Like, it's an indictment on him that's his reputation. That he does not appear as if he feels like he owes the Clippers or Steve Ballmer anything. And I don't think
not an everyday guy. He's not an everyday guy. No, not the mama mentality.
Guy. Yeah, not a foxhole mentality, Kawhi Leonard. But this story cannot go anywhere. It's gonna. I'm waiting for Pablo Torre to have some other.
Exactly. Somebody else it's happened to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
You know,
something's coming.
Kevin Durant, maybe somebody.
You mean another element to Kawhi or a different team?
I wouldn't be shocked if there was another element to Kawhi that.
Oh, no kidding, man.
You know, turned out in 2023, Ballmer pumped in another amount of money because it's like massive money we're talking about. Yeah. That for Ballmer, it's pennies. It's nothing to him. But the last round of this reporting was he dumped in what, 10 million or 9.9 million. The next day or 2 days later, Kawhi got paid. Like, imagine having that much cash where you're dumping 10 million cash and not flinching into a company that's going bankrupt.
He's the eighth richest guy on the planet.
Yeah. Like $10 million
that's nothing
is
to him.
Nothing to him. Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. It's crazy how much money he has.
He does.
Oh, man. That's just a mentality that, like, the average person, the three of us included, could just never, ever comprehend.
No, it is.
Having so much money, you couldn't possibly spend it all, ever.
Pretty cool! Pretty damn cool!
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
Like
good for him. Good for Steve Ballmer. Yeah. All right, there you go. Jerry's percentages. All right, best bets powered by FanDuel coming up. Jays, Rays tonight, and week 3 of the NFL season tomorrow, and then the Leafs will be on the ice tomorrow. The Argos Alouettes on Friday night down at BMO Field. We're going to be there. We can't wait for it. We're field level. We're right in the hunt, man. Luke's going to be down there. We got Keith Pelly coming by. We got Ryan Dinwiddie will join us before the game. Massive game for the Argos, too, as they continue to pursue a playoff spot. So we can't wait to get down there. We're going to see a bunch of people down there, too. It's going to be a great night down at BMO Field on Friday. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050, and on the TSN app.
Sunday on TSN 1050. Your Toronto Maple Leafs kick off their preseason on the road versus the Ottawa Senators. Coverage starts at 3 p.m. Hear it all on TSN 1050. The Leafs live here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm back on the Jays tonight at their minus 130 on the money line, but Gosman's on the mound. Everything's coming up Blue Jays. I think they win again tonight. That'll be 7 in a row. And Gosman's been electric, and he's had extra rest. Ever since the All-Star break, the guy's been one of the best arms in baseball. I think that continues tonight. Addison Barger, big hit last night. I think he gets another hit tonight. We hit a winner.
I love that guy at
parlay.
third, man.
I do too.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He's dynamite. I loved Ernie Clement, but I'm like, this guy's a stud at third.
He looks very good. He had that slump going for a while, and that's a big test for any young player in the league, but he's come out of it.
But defensively, I love him at third, don't you?
I agree. He's got an arm, and he's a vacuum at third right now. He's playing very, very well. So Barger to record a hit and under in the first inning tonight with two pretty good arms on the mound. A very good arm in Gosman. There's your parlay paying plus 334. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Again, Bo Bichette going for all those opinions, but in the end, I guess the first opinion was accurate. Just kind of get some rest, do a little bit of rehabbing, and get back at it, hopefully for the playoffs. And Dalton Varsho is close to return as well. And I don't know about Santander. He's been down in Buffalo. We'll see what happens with him. But
isn't it just leave him there?
Probably.
Possibly at this point, again, because Barger's been playing well, because they've been getting, pretty good production from everyone. And to ask that much of a guy who hasn't played in months to show up and perform in the playoffs, it's a risk. It would be a risk for them to take it. But
Barger's got 20 jacks.
Yeah, Barger's
look
been
at his stat,
for him.
like Vladdy's what does Vladdy have? Vladdy's got 23 home runs. Barger's got 20.
Yeah, he came up in May,
that.
I think. Yeah,
think about that. I was looking the other night, Barger. I'm like, he's got 20 home runs. And then Vladdy comes up and 23. One guy signed for 500. Barger's trying to break into the league.
That's going to have an odor to it at the end of the year if he's got 25. I mean,
listen, he's
500
up
sheets,
hits.
man.
His numbers are okay. They're not off the charts, but they're okay. They're pretty good.
And I love how every time he has a hit, it's like that hit was the exit velo, or it's like the hardest hit single ever. They love bringing that up.
Yeah, he's the king of the exit velocity.
Oh, yeah.
Vladdy. No one does it better. Even if he gets out, sure, he didn't get on base there, but the exit velocity was great.
Yeah. Listen, you know what? They're winning, so nobody shines a light. If they had 76 wins, everybody'd be all over Vladdy for those stats.
Oh, the front office would be at the forefront of it still, Noodles.
Right.
Like if they were on pace for 75 wins, it would be so loud about Ross and Mark and Schneider and what are they going to do? And to their credit, those guys, they put together a team here that's completely flipped everything over. They're a completely different club in terms of their performance anyway. And again, they're winning a lot of games, and I expect that to continue tonight. But we'll see with Bichette, we'll see with Dalton Varsho, and I guess we're tracking the Yankees, tracking the Red Sox. But at this point, it feels like a formality. They're going to win the American League East, and they're going to probably have the best record in the American League. Period. What a season!
Great
Magical
season.
Year.
Now they got to follow it up in the playoffs.
Which ultimately is where it really matters.
How big of a surprise is it for you, Hayes? If you were to characterize it, would you be shocking, just nice surprise? I think it's kind of shocking.
Pretty shocking, man. Pretty shocking considering how ugly it was last year.
Yeah,
big time.
Pretty shocking.
And the pressure, as you just mentioned, on the front office to get it done, and they actually did.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff,
if they're fighting for a wild card spot, not, that's surprising, maybe not shocking. If you had have told me they finished with 86, 87 wins and third wild card, I'd think that was in the ballpark of what they were capable of doing. This is a completely different story. This is 94, 95 wins and best team in the American League.
Right.
That's shocking, not just from a Jays perspective, but what it says about the Yankees and the Astros and a lot of different teams who I think we thought would be great this year. Detroit's been very good.
Did anybody have the Jays in their projections being
not
first?
The best team in the American League?
No
one.
No, hey man.
A couple years ago, I feel like that was the case, but
sure.
not going into this season.
For sure. Yeah, this it's always based on what you did the year before.
Right.
You act as if it's a blank slate, but it never is. It's no different with the NFL, with the NHL. Like, we're going to go into an NHL season here and everyone's going to make predictions. And it's, everyone that made the playoffs last year, you're going to say, I think they can make it again. They're not going to all make it, though. Like,
right.
16 teams that made it last year will not make it this year.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's turnover every single year. About 25% will probably turn over, right? One or two teams in each division, few teams in each conference. That's the way it goes.
Yep. That's
so,
true.
And that's the beauty of sports, man. If it weren't that way, it wouldn't be fun. If it's so predictable every single year, what's the point of even watching?
Who's your one team you think's going to slip this year, Hazy?
That made the playoffs last year?
Yes.
I will say, I think Washington comes back to earth a little bit. I don't think they win the division and top seed in the East.
I think they'll make both Ottawa, Montreal getting back in.
I don't know if they're both getting back in. I don't know. That's not a decisive answer. Give me 2 weeks and I'll give you an answer on that. Let me see how we get through camp. But they're on the borderline. They both were wild card teams last year.
Yeah.
So it would not be shocking. Like if Florida missed, Edmonton missed, that's shocking.
Right.
If St. Louis doesn't make it, that's not shocking. Would I be shocked if St. Louis didn't make it? No, I wouldn't be. So,
right.
Anyway, we'll come up with some of those takes as we get closer to the season.
Yeah.
But the Ottawa-Montreal connection is an interesting one. Because there was one, I didn't see the Habs making the playoffs last year. I thought Ottawa could, but the Habs I didn't think had a shot. They ended up making it.
Yeah.
All right. Jays race tonight. Week 3 in the NFL starting tomorrow. Down at the Argos game on Friday. It's going to be a fun week. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today, TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.